Welcome back to LDS Singles Anonymous. I'm Buzz.
I'm Mackenzie.
I'm Linnea.
I'm Amy.
So, I'm the creepy guy. I'm sure you already knew that. This is no surprise.
Has anyone gotten that vibe?
I'm the creepy guy. And let's say I'm out of practice. Actually asking somebody out on a date. Instruct me how to properly either compliment someone or start a conversation without being the creepy guy, without offending, whether it's, the new norm and what's accepted in society, because that's changed a lot since I was asking people out. So all the guys out there that are in my same situation, we want to say something nice to start a conversation. We want to compliment someone. How to do this and not be the creepy guy. How do I compliment somebody? How do I start a conversation? How do I
Approach.
How do I approach?
The approach. Ooh. I think first off, maybe the way that I feel like I've been approached, well, maybe not often, but I feel like the general idea that men tend to approach women as is they come up with a compliment about how they look. Like, oh, you're very pretty. Or like, I saw you across the room and I really liked how you looked and I wanted to come talk to you. Like, that's been said multiple times. I don't know if you've heard that. Have you heard that?
A little bit.
We all know you're beautiful, Linnea.
Yeah. Maybe you get it more than others.
Sometimes I just need to be told I'm pretty. But that, I think, is not the way to go. And I don't know if you all feel the same way, but I tend to feel like that's objectifying. And it also, it gets you labeled the creepy guy because it seems like your only interest in coming over to talk to me is because I look pretty, which we all kind of assume if you're coming over to talk to a female. I mean, I don't know if this is actually a thing for all men, but we assume that if a man is coming to talk to a woman, he thinks she's pretty. So you don't need to say it. We kind of understand that. But also, it feels like your purpose is just to fill in the slot of, I want a pretty woman. You are pretty. I want you to fill this spot. Doesn't matter anything else. You are pretty, and you go there. So I would say initial compliments about physical appearance tend to put you in the creepy place.
Okay. So how do I say you look good without, what would be a compliment that you would take as not creepy?
So I think that if you do want to give a compliment on appearance, if that's maybe you're a little nervous and that you just come up with what you're seeing right in front of you, because that can happen. But I'll use you as an example because you sew, you make a lot of your clothes, and so like you have this cool skirt that's made out of ties, right? And so if she's wearing that and you come up and you're like, hey, that's a really cool skirt. Did you make that? By adding, like, you made something specific. So it was like you noticed, it's not quite about my body per se. It's like that thing you are wearing is cool. It takes it like, I don't know, just a couple inches away from that. and it makes you, like, I paid attention to something and then I asked you a question. So I just started a conversation instead of being like, hey, you look really beautiful. It's like,
Nice. I did look in the mirror this morning. I know.
I tried.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Yeah.
So more the objects, not the physical appearance. Like I would say, wow, those are crazy earrings. Where did you get those?
Yeah.
That would be a great way to start a conversation.
Because then you can say, hey, I got these at a thrift shop. My friend made them. Or I bought them at Claire's and I thought they were cool. I like black and white. You're like, that's a nice color scheme. You know, it starts something as opposed to just you look pretty. Because...
Well, and I never thought about it before, but that's an empty conversation starter. What are you supposed to say?
Yeah. Thank
Thanks.
you.
That's how my mom made me.
Yeah, I just
Yeah.
I just
I know.
brushed them. They were real, you know, there's nowhere to go. There's
No,
nowhere.
exactly.
It's like
Correct.
you look really pretty in that dress. Thanks. Okay, what's the next step?
Yeah.
Exactly. And now I feel pressured, like, you want me to start a conversation. That's all you brought to the table. Like, you
Yeah.
came over here, and now it's my job to make conversation with someone who probably isn't actually going to listen to what I say.
I don't know if you can find it on YouTube, but the church put out something called the phone call.
What? Seen that
Phone
one.
call is
Yes,
the
it's
greatest thing the church has ever produced. It talks about a guy getting up the courage to ask a girl out. And all the girls in the room go, ha, 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 that's so funny. Every guy goes home with these weird, freakish cold sweats because that's the real truth.
Scary.
And if you don't think it is, you don't understand what it's like to be a guy. PTSD over asking people out.
Oh.
It is a scary thing.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've done it. It's terrifying.
So, opening a discussion, keep it open-ended. Make sure that there's an answer to a question that's not a yes or no or a thanks. Because, again, it doesn't matter what you say. That's a really nice tie you've got. Thanks.
Yeah, see, it feels just as awkward in reverse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Right.
really like your tie. It really brings out the color of your eyes.
Wow. Baby boop.
Thank you.
Great.
Poop.
They sure are magic. Okay, so what else? What else? What are some other ideas? Help me. Help me broaden my horizons.
Well, something you can do that's in the range of compliments, if you still want to start a compliment, because everybody likes them, right? Is that if this requires a little bit more of like a previous experience with that person. It's not like I just saw them across the room and I thought they were cool and I wanted to talk to them. But if you have, like you've been in Sunday school and maybe they gave a really nice comment and you want to say, hey, I really appreciated your comment in Sunday school. That does a couple things because for one, that requires your attention.
Very
Requires you
important.
paying attention to things, which not everybody does these days.
What'd you say? I wasn't listening.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the other thing is it requires you to listen, which is a very attractive quality. And so it's like, oh, you didn't just notice like, hey, girl's really pretty. You're like, hey, she's pretty, and she has really thoughtful comments in Sunday school. I want to go talk to her.
So making it more about something she said or did, making it about an accomplishment. Maybe you heard through the grapevine that she graduated with something, you know, and you
got
could
her master's.
She got her master's. She accomplished something. She got a new job.
Bought a house.
Bought a
Bought a
house,
house. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So potentially making it more about an accomplishment that she did, something that she was able to, she had control over, because a lot of the times
Exactly, it's
physical
control.
appearance you don't have any control over. And so complimenting her on something that she has done or said
Okay.
is more validating to her and will be a less creepy compliment that you can give.
Yeah, and if you don't know them to be able to refer to something in the past,
Yeah.
I know a question I love asking and being asked is what's something you're really interested in right now? Because usually that means they could talk about it for a long time and you'll start to get to know them as they're talking. Like, I'll talk about what I'm interested in and I love to hear what you know about what I'm interested in too. And I mean, of course, as we're talking generalities, everyone's going to be different. So
Yeah.
it's not like we're going to be able
There's
to
no
list
one way to
everything
start a
that's going to work
conversation.
for everyone. Some people do like those compliments about how they look and
Yeah.
some people really don't.
That's true.
And I think biologically, part of why we don't just inherently really like being told like your body looks great is because like we've evolved to understand that's kind of dangerous. Like because we are physically not as strong or big. And so if there's someone we don't have a relationship in saying, I have interest in you and I don't have trust with you yet, my evolutionary brain hears you're in danger, you're a target. And I don't like being a target. So like even though now consciously I know, yeah, that's probably not going to happen. Like I'm fine and like I can say no and all of that. Like it still triggers something in my brain that says this isn't safe anymore, which is why it gets translated as creepy. Because technically I don't think anything's going to happen. I'm like,
Yes.
no one's going to hurt me.
But
But
you've heard
my
the
brain
stories.
still
But
thinks
you've heard
that
the
I
stories.
might.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I've
You
heard
know
stories.
someone. You know
Yeah,
someone
well,
who's been stalked.
everyone knows
because
Yes,
someone
I
did
do
that.
know multiple
Yep.
people.
Right? Multiple
Yeah.
people.
And so that's always a fear.
Yeah.
But that's what I was thinking about. Like, there's a perception that we get versus the intention. Perhaps the intention was, I want to make you feel good by telling you that you look pretty. But the perception that, I don't know about all females, but I would say the majority of females get is what you were talking about, Mackenzie. About
Yeah.
how we feel we are a target.
Yeah.
We
it's intense.
can't
It's
go
scary.
home.
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna
And
go
make
find my
sure-
friend.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna stand by you for the rest of this activity, and then we're gonna walk out to my car together.
And we're going to check the car to make sure no one's there, and we're going to watch behind us to make sure we're not being followed. It's an evolutionary thing that we just,
Yeah.
it's a group.
We're still trying to evolve away from that, but it's still
It's
there.
proven
Yeah.
wrong so many times
Yeah.
that it doesn't, you can't, I don't know.
But the thing
That's
is
the thing.
that, like, if I know someone. So if a guy that I'm friends with already comes up to me
Right.
and says, "Hey, you look gorgeous today," I'm like,
I love
"Thanks,"
that. Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah, it's the relationship and trust. I
Yeah.
think it makes a
Already
huge
The
established.
difference.
trust
Yeah.
is already there, and so it's not like that's all I know about him is that he finds
Yeah.
me attractive. It's like, hey, we're friends, we're cool. I'm probably gonna compliment him on his tie too, you know, but because
And his eyes.
we have a
And his
relationship.
colored eyes.
Because that's just the easiest thing to start. Yeah, it's like the most distinctive thing when you see a guy on Sunday, and so it's things to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true. But for an example of like a cold open, because a lot of the times you don't, like if you're just at an activity and you don't know someone across the room and you want to just have a cold introduction, going up with a question like that, what are you interested in right now? Or just coming up and saying, where is the favorite place you've traveled? Or what's your favorite food? Or what's your favorite restaurant maybe would be even better. Like,
Hey, what's
Yeah.
on your playlist right now?
yeah, even that would be a great
like, what's the last
question.
song that you listen
Yeah,
to?
what movie you
yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
Where are you, like, if you're going to
What
go
you
to a
read.
movie, which one would you go to right now? Like, oh, I heard that one's bad. I would not pay to go to Indiana Jones, for example. So, yeah.
Yeah, again, that's a conversation starter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it allows...
No spoiler alerts, though.
No spoilers. But it allows for the person you are approaching to talk. And that's
Yeah.
another thing.
Yes.
Well, and I think for me or anyone in my position, I can read situations okay. And if I ask you a question that you have enough ammunition to answer back, whether it's, the last movie you watched or the last book you read or I can tell if you shut off and go away. Or I can tell if you're interested enough to keep talking about the subject.
True.
And that tells me, the dumb guy that doesn't read super well, hey, you know what? I broke the ice. She's not interested. Next.
And that's an easy way to kind of not weed people out, but like you find your people
Yeah.
based on like shared interests. And so
Right. So if I
being
said,
aware.
what's on your playlist? And you say, oh, I'm so into Celine Dion. And I go, you have a nice day.
hey, she's great.
Yes.
Sometimes. I don't know. I don't really listen to her. But it's true. It's a good way to even see if you would get along with them.
Well, and
Or
if you
learn
leave an
something new, or
open-ended
learn
question,
something new.
Yeah.
if you leave an open-ended question and they shut you down, understand, hey,
Yeah.
that one ain't gonna
Yeah,
work.
go talk to somebody else.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 And that's okay.
On about their playlist and whatever. It's saying, hey, I'm open for more
Talking.
conversation.
More conversation.
And if you're open for more conversation, maybe we need to continue this conversation over dinner. Or maybe we need to, da-da-da-da-da. Or, you know
can
what?
show up at
Maybe
another activity.
the best thing ever is get to the end of that conversation and stop. And then the next time you see them, pick it back up. That
Yes,
right
long
there
game.
is a key.
It's a long game.
If you can remember something that we talked about in a previous conversation, so I don't feel like I have to completely reintroduce myself the next time.
That is a good sign.
That is a good sign. Yeah.
That is true.
And then you can test the waters as well. Sometimes by the end of the conversation, maybe asking for their number is what they are expecting. It depends on how long the conversation is, but it tends to be better to leave them wanting more instead of wishing for less, you know?
That's true.
And going to the conversation, how you were saying you kind of prefer 50-50 or an equal amount of sharing. There's a balance to that as well. Because you don't want it to feel like it's an interrogation. Like I've felt interrogated before because they wanted to keep me talking. So you do have to find a balance it is good to be equal sharers, I think.
Yeah, and especially if, I think for me, what the difference is if that person can only talk about themselves when it's their
Right,
portion of
sure.
talking versus us talking about a mutual subject rather than like
Yeah.
interrogation
That's
on
true.
either end
Yes.
kind of a thing.
Well, and
Like,
that was
fun.
part of my whole focus when I was trying this experiment was I need to find what interests her to the point where she just wants to share. And whether it's real estate or mathematics or music or whatever,
Yeah.
somebody's got that magic one. You know, you talk about internal combustion engines, and if you know anything, I am there. Now, nobody knows anything, but that's all right.
But I feel like I was in a situation once where the guy had this thing about, oh, I'm always supposed to ask you about yourself. And so I didn't feel like I knew him
yeah.
because he didn't,
He didn't share
it's possible
himself,
to,
yeah.
only talk about yourself.
Sure.
It's also possible to not talk about yourself enough. I felt like maybe he didn't trust me or he didn't
Yeah.
care. He was just like, I don't know, she's cute and she's there. Keep talking.
I find
Yeah.
that
Just balance.
that guys talk about what I did. High school football and this and this. Everything is in the past. When you really get into what a woman believes in the center of her heart, it's what's in the future. And that is just so weird.
Interesting.
Like, if you get a guy to talk about something he's super interested in, it's all in the past. I did this, I did this, I did this. It was this car I built. It was this championship we won. It was this football game, and they'll talk about, the Al Bundy thing where he's talking about high school football when he's 50. And I tend to find that women talk about the future. I want to be here. I want to accomplish this. I want to.
I feel like I need to experiment a little bit more on that.
Yeah, I know. That could be an interesting thing to start paying attention to.
Yeah.
I've never really thought about that.
Or maybe it's just I'm not seeing things right.
I mean, maybe none of us are.
No.
Who knows?
Well,
And
everybody's
again,
different,
everybody's
so-
everybody's
Yes.
different.
Yeah.
We could have 12 people come in and I'm sure half of them will say something different.
That's true.
There might be themes and patterns, but everyone has a different experience.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's one more question to finish this up. And then we'll wrap this one as kind of a short episode. And that is cold cereal. What's the best cold cereal? Why? Which ones do you hate? Which ones do you love?
Reese's Puffs. Definitely
Reese's Puffs.
Mhm.
Reese's
With
Puffs.
chocolate almond milk.
Oh,
Sometimes a dollop of
interesting.
crunchy peanut butter.
Crunchy?
Fascinating.
So
Crunchy
good.
is good. I do prefer
How much is
crunchy.
a dollop?
Of Daisy. No, just kidding. All depends on how much peanut butter you like or want. How big is your spoon? So, yeah, that's good stuff.
I like the fact that they're putting marshmallows in everything now. Like you've got
Colored
Marshmallows are fun.
marshmallows. All
Yes.
the colors.
yes,
Yeah, and
but
shapes.
You get
Cocoa Pebbles with
Cocoa
the
Pebbles and
yep.
Fruity Pebbles with marshmallows.
With marshmallows.
It's like
I
they were
haven't seen that.
already.
Lucky Charms were the ones with the marshmallows.
Well,
Now
and
that I
Lucky
do.
Charms were awful because they were worse than Cheerios. They were just the worst. Like, get rid of all that, and the marshmallows were the good part.
Yeah.
Now they do honey Cheerio or honey Lucky Charms, and it's like, oh, so now the Lucky Charm part are not as bad as they were. But then you get into Fruity Pebbles with marshmallows. Stop.
Just calm
I've got Fruit Loops with marshmallows. But sometimes I just go back to the standards, Captain Crunch. The only problem is you've got to let Captain Crunch sog just the right amount. It tears the roof of your mouth up if you don't. And if you
So
let
painful.
it sog too much, it turns
like
into
grits.
this paste. And so you just got to have the
balance.
Yes.
That one
yes,
you got to be careful with.
Yes.
I
Just
like Chex.
conversation.
Just like conversation.
Yeah.
So true.
Ooh, Chex is good. Which
Chex
Chex?
is good.
There's like 50 types.
I know.
I'm a wheat Chex guy.
Wheat
I like
or
wheat Chex
rice.
with a little sugar on it.
I like.
That's
I,
nice.
I just like wheat or rice. It's like they're like little pockets of milk. I don't know,
Yeah,
they're fun.
oh, that's true.
Just
That's
eat them.
good. Yeah.
A little boring.
I like Honey Bunches of Oats, the one with the clusters.
Ooh,
Those are
those are
yummy
good
too.
too. Yeah.
Good ones.
They got just enough of the granola clusters in there, but to eat a whole bowl of granola clusters is like,
I like the crunch.
yeah.
I'm big on crunch.
All right.
These are good.
Well, to wrap this up just a little bit,
this one?
I think one last important thing to remember is that we know that it's scary.
Yes.
To come up and talk to someone, even if you've got like plenty of things to say, interesting questions to ask. It's scary and it's intimidating. And anyone who is thoughtful and kind will, maybe if they're not interested, they will politely rebuff you, but they will be kind and they will be honest with you. And
effort is appreciated.
Effort is appreciated. That is probably the main thing, is that even if you sound a little awkward, maybe you're like, hi, hey, you ask a question, right? We can acknowledge that effort, and we appreciate, we know that it's scary, and so we will appreciate that.
Oh, desire to connect.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts? Comment below to continue the conversation. This has been LDS Singles Anonymous. Thanks for watching.